So we are up to our interview with Dot Wiggins.
Yeah.
It was funny. We had called her a few times and we were waiting to hear back. And who told you she actually had written a song about playing phone tag?
Yeah. Somebody from her Dot Wiggin band said that she wrote a song called Phone Tag. And I thought, oh my God, we're never going to get this interview. But we did. We did. So here it is.
And she was so great and amazing to give this interview with us and to talk about old times, new times, and perhaps a Netflix documentary.
The world's most reluctant band, the Shaggs. Oh,
So
look at your
meet,
dog.
wait
Wow.
a minute, turn him around. Meet
Oh
Herman.
my goodness.
What's his name?
Herman.
Oh, Herman. Okay.
Adorable.
He's a big chunk. Look at that.
Yes, he is the big boy. He's only 2.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah. You hear that?
That's adorable. Oh,
What?
Yeah.
I
He
know
likes to
Mark
do
has
that.
been just a huge fan of yours for forever. Like
yeah.
when we first met, he's like, you have to hear this.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah. The thing about your music is it for me it's sort of like the yardstick that I use for when if I listen to something that's new that's very different and I don't like it the first couple of times, but I start to hear little nuances. I always think that this is the Shaggs effect, that it's going to come back around, and a lot of times it ends up being my favorite music because but the Shaggs effect is just it's just one of those concepts that, you know, when you first hear it, it might be jarring or alien, and then you just find the beauty in it after a few listens. So it's like a hang in there kind of thing.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I can imagine. So tell me about the movie. Is there a movie? Is there going to be a movie? I mean,
Well, it's been in the process since close to, I'd say, 2000. So they keep buying our life rights every year. But I don't know. Before it was going to be on a big screen. Now they're talking like Netflix, YouTube, and stuff like that. Every year, still in the process, but who knows?
yeah.
Hopefully, while Betty and I are still around.
How much creative input did you get to have for the movie?
We got to read the script and say what we liked or didn't like. That's about it. They pick some of the actors or actresses, and then it changes over time because they've either gotten bigger and they can't afford them, or the money's not there, or who knows.
So
But yeah,
you didn't get to pick who played you, huh?
no, no, because I would have picked back along. I don't know about now. I would have picked Allison Sweeney from Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
But she's not at the right age that they can make her older or younger or something. At least that's what they told me. But she's older now, so who knows? But
Well, do you believe like the whole thing started with a prophecy, right? So
yeah,
how much do you think it was actually a prophecy or like a self-fulfilling prophecy that you guys became this cult thing?
well, I think it was a prophecy that my father got from his mother.
Yeah.
And then, but he never mentioned it until we had graduated from grammar school, 8th grade. And then he started buying guitars and giving us voice lessons and guitar lessons. And then later on, he said it was the prophecy that, well, he said his mother read the palm of his hand, said he was going to marry a strawberry blonde and have 3 daughters that were going to be in a band. He did marry, my mom was a strawberry blonde, and there's 4 daughters, but only 3 ended up being in the band because Rachel was 6 years younger than I am, and she was still in high school. So yeah, that's where it all started.
That's so wild.
You're probably the most reluctant musician I've ever interviewed.
Probably.
I remember one time being out with some friends and drinking and listening to the Shaggs, and we came to the conclusion that it was the most beautiful music that was ever created through child abuse. Because,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like, you didn't want to do it. You didn't want to do
Right.
it.
No, it was my father's dream.
Yeah,
I
you were
did enjoy
pushed to do it.
writing.
Yeah. So
I did enjoy writing the lyrics to the songs. I did enjoy that.
how did you come up with the lyrics? You were so isolated and you had such little life experience. Like, how did you tap into
Like,
what was it like?
my favorite is there are many things I wonder, there are many things I don't. It seems the things I wonder most are things I never find out. I'm like, that resonates so perfectly.
Yeah, what was it like?
I don't even know the music. I mean, the lyrics just came to my head. I don't know. I guess they came from God. It's the only thing I can say. Each one, some of them have a story behind them. Some don't. Some start out as a, for instance, I just lost my thought. He's my cutie. That started out was my oldest nephew at the time was probably 3 or 4 years old, and wouldn't pay any attention to me. Wouldn't let me pick him up. And so that started with he's my cutie, and then it turned into more like a love story. And I don't even know where that came from, but probably listening to other music. Herman Hermits has always been my favorite. He's my teenage idol. Actually, we just saw, well, he's the only original Herman Hermits, but we saw his band a week ago tomorrow. So when he's in driving distance, I still go see him.
That's cool.
So a lot of it probably came from listening to the music back in the 60s.
Was there a pet or something that inspired the Foot song? Like, where did that come from?
There was a cat. I did name him Footfoot. I did name him Footfoot, but the original name came from a joke that my father had told us years and years ago, and I liked it, so I named him Footfoot. Come to find out years later, in fact, a fan from New York, probably 6 or 7 years ago, sent me a CD with, I think it's Mal Tillis, and he told that joke on one of his CDs. So that's where I don't know where my father heard the joke, but that's where the original name Footfoot came from, which I didn't know at the time. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I found it kind of ironic. You guys are so young, and the record is called The Philosophy of the World. I was like, wow, where did that come from?
I don't even know where I got that title from.
Very deep. Yeah, very deep.
Yeah, it just started with, at the time, my hair's always been wavy. And then in the winter or a lot of wet weather, it gets curly, but also frizzy. And I always wanted straight hair. So that's where that part came from. I always thought I wanted to ride a motorcycle, which I never did. And I'm probably kind of glad I haven't now. But that's where the car and the motorcycles came from. And then the others, it just flows in. And I don't even know where I got the name Philosophy to name it that. Because most songs have the title and have that title in the song, and that one doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think.
There's something in the history that I always wanted to clear up. So when Casey from NRBQ came to see you guys to tell you that they were going to re-release the record, someone said, "How much is this going to cost me?" Was that someone in the band that said that? And he had to say, no, we're going to pay you. Like
number one, I'm not sure who Casey is.
Who was the guy from? He came up to see you guys.
Harry Adams.
That's who it was. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought
and
it was
the drummer Tom.
Right.
That's who came to see us.
So who was it that said, "How much is it going to cost?" And he had to explain.
That was probably me.
Okay.
My father had passed away at that time.
Okay.
And we weren't really doing anything with the band, so I was basically, I don't think Betty came that night. I think it was just me, my husband, and my father. My husband might have asked it.
Okay.
But I think it might have been me. I don't remember, to be honest. I remember someone asking, but I don't know if it was me or my husband.
Because all you had done is pour money into it, and the idea that you were actually going to make some money from it was probably mind blowing at that point.
Right.
Well, it got great accolades, though. I mean, Rolling Stone and everybody else got behind it and had some great things to say about it. Were you surprised with this re-release and you guys got this resurgence?
Yes, very surprised. We just thought it was, another part of our life, and that part was over. We all got full-time jobs. We got married. So we really weren't doing anything with the music. So yes, that was a surprise. And it was even more of a surprise in 1999. NRBQ was doing their 30th anniversary show in New York and had invited me and Betty to come to New York and perform on his anniversary show. Helen had passed away at that. No, she did not pass away, but she wasn't capable of going. She was having health issues.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then going there and finding how many fans were there. People from a lot of them were NRBQ fans, but a lot of them came for Shag fans and like Japan, California, UK.
That's very
So
cool.
that was, yeah, we didn't realize we had that much of a following.
Yeah.
And
So
all
many
that's
years later.
the things after with the Dot Wiggins band and the things that got released after that were just the same kind of level. And you know, the response from that I thought was equally great.
Yes.
Was it worth it? I mean, I know you had in the early days, you know, you guys were picked on and people were so mean to you. I mean, with it coming back around, did it make up for it or do you think no?
I don't know if it made up for it, but made us realize that there were a lot of fans out there that liked us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it made up for us. They were pretty mean and cruel.
Yeah. From what I read, it was terrible.
But life is so.
Yeah, with everything you guys have been through and everything else, do you think you would still record more and, you know, get out there in front of your fan base again?
At this time, I would probably say not at this time. And I'm almost 100% sure Betty wouldn't. She did go to one, the last show we did, which was in Mass. Can't think of the name of the place right now, but she did go there and she did perform her song.
Oh,
But
wow.
I don't think I could get her to go again. And I'm not even sure if I would travel right now, the way the world is.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
All right. So we have this game we do with all our guests.
Oh boy.
It's random questions. I would want you to pick 5 numbers between 1 and what are we up to now? 85.
Yeah.
So pick 5 numbers.
Pick them now. Okay. 3, 7, 13, 11, and 21.
All right. Question number 3. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh boy. One superpower. Peace around the world.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You could just wave a wand.
Yeah, there you go. That's a very mature selection. I would have probably picked something money related.
All right. Number 7. For some reason, everyone picks number 7. What is your go-to dance move?
Oh. I'm not sure I have one. I have 2 knee replacements, and I have osteoarthritis in my left hip and lower back. So I don't do a whole lot of dancing, but back along, I don't think I really have one. I just dance how I feel with the music. One I could give you as an example would be On the Road Again. We went to a club and they played that and I got up and danced. I did my own thing.
Awesome.
Twirled around. I embarrassed my husband, so
Well,
that's all I did. That was fun.
Hashtag life goals.
That's great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Number 13. What is the worst job you ever had?
My worst job. Most of my jobs have been semi-related, but my worst one was probably being a janitor at a factory. And I didn't mind the work, but my supervisor basically lied to my boss about me, and I've never really given, I never really quit a job, but I gave them my 2 weeks notice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was probably it, because he said I was one place, said he didn't know where I was, and he's the one that sent me where I went. So, but I think it was because I wasn't supposed to be there alone, so he was covering his own butt. So I guess that would probably be about the worst.
Yeah.
There's nothing
That
worse.
doesn't sound fun at all. No.
And then you went with number 11. What word do you always mispronounce?
Oh, there's a lot of them. My son corrects me all the time. I don't know if I have just one off. He could tell you, but he's not here. Probably data or data. Data, right? Or is it data?
Data.
See, data. So I used to pronounce it data, and
Okay.
I guess my son's corrected me enough times that I've got it right. Oh, but there's many more.
That's great.
Yeah, I got
Data versus data. Yeah.
my mom always calls it Panera Bread Pan Era. I have no idea why.
Okay.
And then you
a lot of
picked
these words are new to our generation, so we've never heard them before.
and then you picked 21. Name a song that brings back great memories for you.
Great memories. Probably one of Herman Hermit's. Something tells me I'm into something good.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That song always makes me think of the Naked Gun movie, the montage when they're running, clotheslining people on the beach. It's hysterical.
So when you listen to music these days, do you listen to stuff from that era all the time, or do you listen to new stuff, or you kind of stick in the 60s, 70s?
I don't have a CD player that works in my car, so I listen to a local station that does play all music, but mostly the oldies. But at home, I listen to Elvis, Herman Hermit, and NRBQ, and then I have a Echo, and I listen to oldies on there.
That's
so
awesome.
pretty much, yeah. And I do like some country, but I like the older country better than the new.
That's awesome.
When you guys went back out on the road, was it difficult to relearn the stuff? Like, how hard was it to get back into playing music again?
It was difficult. One song in particular was Betty's song, Painful Memories.
Yeah.
She had written the lyrics. I had written the music. And at the time, it must have been shortly after we were studying some of the harder chords, like D minor 7 maybe, or I don't know what else. But anyway, I put a lot of those in the song. So when we went to NRBQ's anniversary, we did that song and we changed it. We changed the chords a lot easier. They still matched all the notes.
Yeah.
We probably did a lot of G, C, F, things like that. So yeah, it was a lot harder. And then when I sang, when we started performing, after the NRBQ thing, for instance, the Dot Wiggin band, I didn't play any music. I just sang. So when we did ours, I always played the melody, so I knew when to come in and when not to, but there was no melody. NRBQ played it, and the keyboard and the drums, and so I had trouble knowing when to come in because I wasn't playing the melody and didn't hear the melody. So yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. We last Halloween we decided we were going to do I would be Tom Petty and she would be Stevie Nicks, and we were going to do the song that they sing together. And we practiced, and when we got it down pretty good, the guitar and the vocals. And then when we got into costume, we sucked.
It was horrible.
It was so hard because we were focused on the moves, and
Right.
I just learned from that. It's really hard to be a tribute band, to play and sing and have the look. We sucked. That was
Right.
The next day. She called me up from work and said, "How's the video?" And I said, "I don't have 10 good seconds. I forgot.
Horrible.
I forgot how to play the guitar. Your vocals are flat. It was terrible. But I mean, we look good. But yeah."
Oh, that's good. That was something.
That was all we had. Yeah. So.
Do you still play around with music in your spare time just to mess around, or?
No, if anything, I might come up with a few lyrics and start a song, but I've never finished it. The last song I wrote was Phone Tag.
Yeah,
And
that's great. That's so funny.
that's when,
When Jesse
yeah,
told me that you had a song called Phone Tag, I thought, wow, that's great. Yeah.
yeah, it was him and I were trying to connect because we were going to be playing in New York, I believe, and he could never get me and I could never get him. So I just I'm gonna write a song about phone tag, and I did. At that show, I wrote it actually while we were sitting there, and then they did the music. I only wrote the lyrics.
That's
But
great.
but yeah.
An interesting concept for lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always kind of like when I try to describe your music, like some people call it like accidental genius, but I like it like I'm like, think of it like a Picasso. You're not going to get it all right away. It's a little abstract. Do you think that's a good way?
Yeah, I like that. It's a good way. Yes.
You know, that way, because I was trying to explain it to people I worked with, and I was like, you got it. It's not going to make sense to you. And then all of a sudden you're, oh.
Right.
Do you still get recognized when you go out places?
Not lately. If I go to a show, well, I just went to, like I said, I went to Herman Hermits last week.
Wow.
And nobody recognized me there. Sometimes Peter will mention it. If I go in the autograph line, he'll say who I am, and he'll say, this is Dot Wiggin from the Shaggs. He didn't do that this time, and he hasn't done it the last couple of times, but I don't know if anybody else. The most we get recognized is if I go to NRBQ's concert, which they haven't been along for a while, so. But yeah.
Do you have any like people still try to get autographs and
not lately.
But I bet if this movie breaks, things are going to change entirely.
You're probably right.
It'll be a whole big resurgence. So I'm hoping that comes out. You know, even Dahmer on Netflix. All of a sudden, everybody's talking about that again. So
there's going to be a resurgence from this interview.
Oh yes, absolutely.
I mean, this is it. This is your ticket right now. So.
All right, I like that.
Is there any music that you've heard that you've thought, I can't believe people like this? Like, what's your Shaggs that you just can't understand how people can like it?
I'm not fond of heavy metal, and I'm not fond of rap. So it would probably be one of those.
Gotcha.
No, not one in particular, but.
Well, we do a lot of heavy metal on this show, so we're hoping that we're going to convert a lot of people to the Shaggs now. So, so you may have some metal fans.
Well, our other podcast is the extreme one, so that's a little more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, the podcast is named after Motorhead songs, so that'll give you an idea of our normal audience.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people who listen to extreme metal could get into like the untuned guitars and the crazy drum riffs. I think that could be a smashing success for you guys.
Well, I like fans of music, you know, like just all music in general. And I think that if you are a fan of if you're really a music fan across genres, then the Shaggs has to appeal to you. If you really get into it, you know, if you're only into one type of music or whatever, then that's different, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I could never understand people that only listen to one type of music all the time.
Right.
You become an expert in it, but still, I mean, it's just kind of boring, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Did you ever listen to your band?
Which band?
Why am I drawing a blank right now?
What band?
The Sparks.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think I have.
They have a documentary on Netflix. It's fascinating. It's two brothers from LA, and they're kind of, it's kind of Shaggs like. They made music that did not sound like anything at the time, and they were picked up by Todd Rundgren, and they had a lot of ups and downs, and they're still making music now, but they're a band kind of like the Shaggs, where they separate people. You know, you get one
love them or hate them.
I love them, hate them type of thing.
Right.
You know? But yeah, the Sparks Brothers, it's called. It's very good. And when your documentary comes out, it's going to be even better. I can't wait.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we look forward to it. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us on this rain. Is it rainy there?
It's gonna rain. It's not raining yet, but it's cloudy and about 58 degrees, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just cold and clammy here.
Thank you so much, Dot.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.